There we are. Welcome to this first virtual lunch meetup of 2024. We will do a quick intro before we will let today's speaker, Gerjon, take it away. So this is our first, as mentioned, our first meetup for this year. And my name is Jan Vidar Elven. I work at AUG and one of the organizers of Azure User Group Norway. We also have Anders here with us today. You can introduce yourself, Anders.
Yeah, name is already mentioned, and also my employer. So yeah, Azure MVP and one of the co-leaders of Azure User Group Norway. So I hope you all have an interesting AI call today, and hopefully not experience any AI fatigue quite yet.
And we also have Martin in the organizer team. He's not joining in today because he was committed elsewhere. So this is, we are in January. We already had a physical in-presence meetup last week, and that was a big success. It was probably the most challenging day to have a physical event in Norway because we had a full winter storm last week. So at one time we had over 150 people that wanted to attend or on the wait list, but we ended up with 40. So we were really happy about that. But what a challenging day to have a meetup, and I almost didn't make it myself into Oslo, so it was a crazy day. We have a recording and presentations for that. Had some great presentations on Azure landing zone vending machine and also custom optimization in Azure. So if you want to look back to that, you can look at our recordings at YouTube and also on our GitHub account. So this is the first virtual lunch for this year, and we will have a virtual lunch basically every month of the year. So stay tuned for that and follow our meetup. We will also have more physical events, probably a spring summer meetup and an autumn meetup, and do a Christmas meetup towards the end of the year. Those will be based on physical presence mainly. We will also do something around Global Azure Days in April. More on that in a few minutes. So as Gerjon, we have as today's speaker, he submitted a session on our session night, and I thought it was very interesting and wanted to invite him, and we will was able to make this happen today. So welcome to Gerjon, and thank you for submitting. And sure. For everyone else attending, please submit your proposals, and we will try to get you in if this is something that we can arrange for example, our virtual meetups. Basically, we can have speakers from all over the world on that. Global Azure is mentioned, so we will do something on the days of April 18th, 19th, or 20th, probably mostly on April 18th, which is the first day, so we don't take the weekends of people. It's a little bit more challenging doing weekends in Norway. People tend to go to these kind of events more around work days. So as of today, we are planning to do something in Oslo with Dev team. Kristiansand, probably not Norway, because I talked with Julian, one of the co-organizers of Kristiansand, together with Anders here, and we'll probably not do Norway this year because of challenging with the responses there. And we will also do Bergen, so we will do something in the beautiful and rainy city of Bergen in April. So stay tuned for that. More information is coming, and then we will also do a call for speakers there. Those events will be local community meetups, and will be in presence. So you have to be there in person. So if you want to travel to one of those cities and speak, please stay tuned for this call for speakers for that. A little bit practical info on the online meeting. So usually we have these kind of virtual lunches around 30 to 45 minutes. I think, Gerjon, you told me that you are in around 45 minutes slot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the expectation for today. We mentioned also where we chatted before we started this meeting that you are more than happy to take questions as you go.
Yes, please.
So if and we can also do a general QA right after the presentation, but send your questions into the chat and Anders and I will keep an eye on them. You can also raise your hand and we will bring you in if you want to do that. So let's do that. The meeting today will be recorded, it's being recorded, and we will share it on our YouTube channel, and the presentation. If we get the presentation from you, Gerjon, we will do that. We can put that on our GitHub repository.
Yes.
So other than that, just stay muted, raise your hand if you want to speak, and reactions are much appreciated. So with that, I just want to introduce Gerjon again. You can talk about yourself and what you do, but the topic of today is to use different AI services to your advantage. So,
yes,
welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. First up, I'll share my screen, so hopefully you can see my screen now. Let's see, where did everybody go? There you are. It's always nice if you're sharing your screen and everybody is going away. But you can see the screen there, Jan Vidar. Alrighty, well, let's kick it off then. Welcome to the session about the different Microsoft AI solutions. So first up is always the question, what's your visualization when you're thinking about AI? So if you look at AI, if you look at a lot of people, they're going to say, ooh, I see Skynet in the future. That may be one of the possible scenarios, but at the moment, it's more like Clippy, our good old friend from the Word 95, 97 days that was very good at pointing you in a direction that you didn't want to go. So that was one of the qualities of Clippy. Just to give you a little bit of an intro. So if I look at the session goals, so we're going to talk about the use of AI in the Microsoft world for about 45 minutes. The idea is to acknowledge change, to educate you, and hopefully inspire you. So I did a little nice AI thingy here. Questions? Yes, please. I'm not Gandalf the Grey. I don't know everything. I'm more like the guy who threw the ring in the fire and took an incredibly long time to do it. So I'm on my own path to getting to Mordor to throw the ring into the fire. So I don't know everything, but I'll show you what I know and I'll show you what I've tried. And hopefully it will inspire you to get on your own path to grow and to grow in this AI world. So a little bit about me. My name is, in Dutch, it's Gerjon Kunst. In the English, it's Gerjon. I work in the Netherlands at Rowex, where I'm at the moment promoted to innovation officer. So that means I get to play with all the new tech and see how that works in our company and how we can help our customers with that. I'm a Citrix CTA, so I am part of the Citrix community program, and I am one of the Microsoft certified trainers. So I also do training on Microsoft products if needed. And that's me sitting on the stairs in the Dutch Microsoft building. That's they have the empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. They etched that on their stairs there. That's really cool. So it was a nice picture, not of me, but of the stairs, but you get me as a bonus. So the agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about what is AI, the history of AI and the state of AI, just to give you a bit of an overview about what we're talking about and how we got to where we are and where are we now. And then we're going to start about AI in a Microsoft ecosystem. I have some examples, so to build your own bot scenarios and a little wrap up about all the things that are good and bad about AI, in my humble opinion. But first, we're going to celebrate because GPT just turned, GPT-3 just turned 1. So 3.5. So it's always nice to celebrate. It's not all a story about unicorns and rainbows, so it's also a little bit about some downsides of AI at the moment that we're going to talk about. So it's not all woohoo, awesome. It's going to be a realistic view about how I see the world of AI and how we're going to use it in the future. It might not be your opinion, it's my opinion, and I like to discuss over beer, over Teams, or virtual, physical, whatever. I'm always interested in seeing someone else's opinion about this. So before we step into this, everyone can get AI because Microsoft released Copilot now for the masses. So if you're the only user in your environment, or you're just a private user, you can, if you have yourself a Microsoft Family subscription, you can get Copilot Pro. So you can get the Azure of the Microsoft 365 Copilot in your private tenant. And you can also get it in all business or sizes. So they removed the 300 seat limit. So if you have a few bucks to spare, or you can get your boss to sign off on it, try it. It's really cool. I have one of the examples that I tried with GPT. It's released about a week ago, I think, or a week and a half. So it's going to be, it's really cool. It's really fun, and it might save you a lot of time. So my first tip, one thing you should remember, is see if you can get the subscription on this Copilot Microsoft 365 just to get you started. So let's look at what is AI. There are several definitions. Artificial intelligence is the theory and development of computer systems capable of performing tasks that historically require human intelligence. So looking at machine learning, deep learning, and NLP, natural language processing, is where computers can do part of our job. That's the term of AI, and they do that by machine learning. So we learn the machine things. Deep learning, the machine learns itself things based on data. And NLP is the machine interprets language we give it and does something based on that language. So that's really cool. So that is what AI is, and then where are we? The evolving of AI. Where are we in, and how long has it been here? So if you look at the evolving of AI, and there are several documents to look at, or websites to look at that. Sometimes they say 5 stadia, sometimes they say 7. I looked at the 10 stadia. So if you look at the evolving of AI, it all started with something simple like a thermostat. If it comes above 20 degrees, shut off the heating. If it goes below 20 degrees, turn it on with a short delay, because otherwise it's just turning off, turning off, turning off. So if you look at how that's something that's been with us for a long time. So that's the first stage of some kind of AI. The next step would be more the context-based, retention-based system. Alexa, Siri, just based on what you ask it to do, it will look at you, it will do for you. Then you have the more narrowed or expert AI systems, where you look at Watson, for example, is something that IBM created to spot different types of cancer based on MRI scans. So it's a narrow-based. It can do one thing, it can do it really well, but it can help people get better rates in detecting cancer in early stages. Then there's the reasoning AI. So that's Tesla. That's, for example, Tesla, that's more predictive in, okay, if I drive here, someone's coming from the left, is it going to go okay? Should I brake? Should I not brake? So it will help you. It will reason a little bit, but it's also a bit limited to what it can do. It can only drive. Then you have more these self-aware systems that are something that they're developing at the moment. Those systems, that's also something that Tesla does. It tries to reason its way out of stuff. If it doesn't do that, it says, okay, sorry, I don't know, here you go, and you have to drive yourself. So those are more the self-aware systems. Then something that's really buzzing in the market right now is the artificial general intelligence. So there are some intelligence systems that are intelligent like us and have a broad intelligence about a lot of subjects. So that's artificial general intelligence, and the time span about that, they're developing that. So Elon Musk said recently it should be there in about 2 years. I think that's a little bit optimistic, but Elon is known for his optimism. It might take a little bit longer, but those are general systems that can mimic us and help us in different things, and they are more broad based. Then you have the super intelligence. Those are smarter than us. So if you look at the artificial general intelligence, things like in America, they use the artificial intelligence to do their midterms, or to score their intelligence, and those systems can level or sometimes exceed what humans can do on a broad variety of things. So the artificial super intelligence are better than us, so they're smarter than us, and they will help us make even quicker decisions. And then we get into the Star Trek-y stuff. The transcendent AI is mind over matter, where we can put our full minds into an AI system. And that's really something that feels like way over the moon, too far away, but it might come sooner than you think. You might not know how fast that will go, but that's something that's really cool if you can put your mind in an AI system. And then the cosmic AI, they say AI in space, for example, we can set robots out there to terraform a new planet for us, and when it's done, they call us and say, I think the bed is warm, you can come now. And then the last part of the evolving of AI would be a godlike AI, some Skynet thing that can rule us all. Those are 10 stages. I got the LinkedIn article where I got this information from in the bottom. It's just to give you context about how complex AI can get and the different things about context. So if you, the next time you hear a narrow domain AI, you know it's based on one thing. So that's about a little bit about that. Then the history of AI. It all started, of course, with Tom from Tom and Jerry. This is a movie from the 1970s, I think, where there is an electronic robot that is going to do his job. And you know, in the end, let's stop that recording. But you know, in the end, that the robot does not do the job as well as the cat. So in the end, the robot is fired and the cat is rehired. But just to show you that we've been thinking about AI in also in cartoons, etc., for a very long time. So the idea or the concept of computers doing our job or helping us do our job even better has been with us for a long time. So then we're going to look a little bit about the history of AI, the inception and the early years of AI in the 1950s. So it's been about with us for about 70, maybe 80 years, all this AI stuff. And one of the first things that is one of the milestones is the Turing test. The Turing test was created by Alan Turing that measures the ability for a machine to mimic intelligent behavior, so that if you have an interrogator and you don't know who's giving the answer, can you detect if it's a machine answer or not based on your own intelligence? That's one of the first things. This is John McCartney, 1956, who coined the term artificial intelligence, who named it artificial intelligence during the Dartmouth conference. And in the 1960s, there were some development in problem-solving systems, really basic, but then the energy crisis hit and everything AI-related was put into the refrigerator to just sit there for a while and come back, because there were a lot of high expectations and the compute power wasn't powerful enough to do that, and we had other issues to offend with first. Then if you look at the 1980s, there was a revival of AI with expert decision making. They called it the Klondike Project, that you should look up on Wikipedia. It was a project where they resurrected AI to do a little bit of decision making based on the systems they had then. And then, of course, I'm this old because I remember this. This was Kasparov being beaten by Deep Blue. This was the first time that an AI beat the world chess champion in any game of chess. So that was a really milestone to see that AI was evolving and was getting more into reasoning. But this was 1997, so that's really a long time ago. So then in 2010, you got the Alexa and the Series that were coming up. So the talkative AI, so that was really cool. And then, of course, in 2020, GPT-3 was released. It was the predecessor to JetGPT, but it was the first system. And ChatGPT just skyrocketed to January 2003. And after 2 months, it had 100 million users. So when ChatGPT launched, it became AI for the masses. Then it really kicked off into our everyday life. So that's really cool. Then you look at the state of AI. This is the Microsoft released an article about the AI hype cycle. So you can see here the different components. You can see on the top of the thingy, you can see generative AI. So it's at the top of the hype, at top of expectations. This is the time everybody's talking about generative AI, and it's going to fall down a bit when we found out it isn't the holy grail, but then it will eventually flatten out into something we can use in our daily job. And you can see on the left side, there are a lot of things that are coming: casual AI, operational AI systems, prompt engineering. Those are all the terms that we're using. And you can see that there are a lot of expectations growing for a lot of stuff. And you can see something like computer vision and cloud AI services are getting into more the modus operandi. So in our daily lives, we can use this. So if you look at the left, that's all the stuff that's coming our way, and that we as IT need to think about, okay, how are we going to use this and use this to our advantage in our daily job. And on the right side of stuff that is above the hype cycle and is slowly getting into our daily lives. If you look at generative AI, there are, in May 2020, GPT-3 was released, and then of course everybody was jumping on it. So NVIDIA released their own bots, Google released their own bots, Meta released their own bots. So and even X with Elon Musk is now on the bandwagon with their Grok, and Google launches Gemini, which they say is better than GPT-4. So you can see that the evolvement of AI is really, the generative AI is really picking up. So the small thing about the big players, if you look at who we're going to talk to, Google has Bard and Gemini. Those are really big. You have, of course, the OpenAI. You have the Microsoft stack with everything they do about AI. Then you have more the expert systems on the bottom. So NVIDIA, that does a lot of the GPU power for enabling AI to do its work. Tesla and IBM that are doing narrow expert systems. And then, of course, on the left, a lot of other players that are in the space: Darktrace, Dynatrace, Palantir. Those are also more narrow-based players that have an AI expert system that does one thing very well. So that's a small intro. We're going to talk about AI and what it can do for you. And if you look at it, if you want to start your journey in AI, the easiest thing is to get a free subscription to ChatGPT or Bard or whatever, and just learn about what generative AI can do for you. If you're more of a visual guy or girl, just try the DALL-E, Midjourney, or Pixar. Those are also things where you can create your own pictures. That's most of the pictures I created in this presentation are created with Microsoft Designer or DALL-E, just to create a picture. And there are countless others. I have a list here of the 152 best AI tools, and that list is not by far not complete. There are a lot more. But just to show you, there are a lot of tools that can help you solve specific things. You have also business application integration. For example, I was at a customer where they implemented something that in a sales cycle, if they have an online meeting, the AI can predict based on the interaction that someone that is sitting in the meeting has with the screen, with the content, with the presenter. They can predict the probability of buying the software. So only based on visual information and audio and how people are responding to a Teams meeting, they can predict how big the chances are someone might actually buy the product. That's scary, but cool. So that's something that is in the category of business application integration. And of course, you have the custom large language model bots where you can build your own bots if you want to. So Microsoft has their own bots. We're not going to talk about those. Those are I have two. I have something about the Copilot in Azure and Copilot for Microsoft 365. They have different Copilots. They have Microsoft Designer for building your own pictures, and they have the build your own bot. And we're going to look about that in a minute. So first things first, if you look at Microsoft, this is something that is in the Microsoft mission statements. Microsoft, we believe artificial intelligence is the defining technology of our time. So Microsoft is going all in. And this is the book of news for Ignite 2023. I did a scan on the word AI with a space. So it's not just in a sentence, but it's really a word. It was 207 times in the 63-page document. Just to show you, Microsoft is really involved in all things AI. So then there's the thing, okay, why should I use the Microsoft stack and not the OpenAI stack that I can get from OpenAI? Microsoft claims, states, and promises, pinky swear, Scout's honor, that all information that you put in your AI bot that you run inside your Microsoft tenant stays inside your Microsoft tenant and is not used to train the bots from OpenAI, the bot models. So that might give your CISO some ease of mind, just to show them that Microsoft has thought this through and thought this through in a correct way. OpenAI challenged that, and they created a ChatGPT team that counters some of the data security and data control issues. But the Microsoft bots are more open, not the Copilot bots, but if you look at the other stuff I'm going to show you in a bit, you can do more than just talk to it. So the AI landscape, AI productivity, you look at the left, you have Teams Premium, where Microsoft has a bot in Teams that can make you show notes, can make you your tasks automatically based on what's happening in the meetings. You have your Copilots, you have your Bing chat, that's or your Windows chat. And on the right side, you have the more AI-powered solutions. Those are the Azure OpenAI and Azure Machine Learning. And we'll talk about that in a bit. This is a visual representation of all the things. I think most of you must have seen this. There are 6 basic bots, and they Copilots, and they do the different things inside the Microsoft stack. Looking at the Microsoft AI landscape, on the left you have your Copilots. So those are more the SaaS things. So Copilot for Azure, Copilot for Windows, Copilot for Microsoft 365. You can extend them with a low-code development or plugin to do a little bit more than in the standard. And more on the right side, you can build your own bot through Azure AI Studio or Microsoft Copilot Studio. I have an example of both. And something more like Azure AI Service, where you use a PaaS platform based on more high code, where you can build your own bot to do whatever you want to do. So there's always the bit about who's the boss. So keep in mind when you're using Copilot, a lot of stuff is done by Microsoft. If you use the Azure AI stuff, you have to do more. You are more responsible for different things in your environment. And if you use the IA, so you run your own bot based on your own VM inside of Azure, there's a lot more you have to do to be responsible for. So that's just for the shared responsibility model, who's responsible for what. It's just to keep your mind sharp about, okay, we can do all these things with AI, but we have to do it secure. So first out, so that's all the theory. Let's talk about practice. Let's start with the Azure Copilot or the Microsoft Copilot. What it does is it's a large language model, so you input information. It will look into your tenant or your other information to see what can I do with this and what can I fix, and it might even ask the internet for a solution, and then it will give it to you. So one of the big, I tried it yesterday because I am one of the lucky guys that has Copilot. I convinced my manager I couldn't live without it. So I said, okay, on the bottom right, create a presentation about the history of the Azure user group Norway, just out of the blue. And it gave me a 5-sheet thing. I clicked through it first, very quick. It gave me a nice animation about the history of the Azure Norway. So it was founded in 2010. That's correct, Jan Vidar? You're on mute, Jan.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a good question. Because I entered the Azure User Group Norway before last year. So I've been there a little over a year in this group. But yeah, it has a history. And maybe Anders knows how far back it was founded. It has been there a while.
It's been there quite a while. I became, I think I was first involved in 2014 myself, 15 somewhere. So it's been a while. Yeah.
We could ask the founding members that he found online, but it's just to show you that it has a lot more information that it can find online, and it's always good to check to know if it's correct. But I just thought, let's show this, and it says here .NET Framework and Azure in those days, and the first Azure Saturday in Norway was in 2015. Anders, is that correct?
That might be true, yes. This is like really long time ago.
Yeah, I know, but it's really fun, and it's just to show you how easy it is to put something there, and we'll create a presentation. But the fact checking is always a thing, and that stays the same with Copilot. So the recent years it has continued to grow, expanded to include AI and machine learning. Jan Vidar, nice. You're really growing here. And it hosted many events, including a global bootcamp. So it created, I'll go to the conclusion, has a rich history and played an important role in the Norwegian developer community. It grows and evolves, is a platform for developers to learn, connect, and collaborate. Try this if you have Copilot, just see what it does. And if possible, try something that you can fact check. But this is just to show you how easy it is to get a 5-sheet presentation. I didn't change anything. I just typed it in, put it in this presentation, and there we go. So it's really cool to get you started and to help you get content for your PowerPoint or whatever. Another thing that's really cool, and I don't know if many of you have that, is you can have Copilot in Azure. It's in preview now, but you can request Copilot to have in your Azure tenant, and then you can ask it things. So if you click on it, you say, okay, there's a YouTube on the bottom there you can watch, but they have more information. But you can say, for example, on the left, I want to check cost management for VM usage. And it says, well, okay, in your current scope, you have these VMs that are running costs for you. And it can help you do your, you don't have to go through all the things in Azure to all the different panes to get the information. You can just get it to show you. And on the right side, I say create an Azure CLI script that creates a Cosmo DB in West Europe based on the cheapest subscription. And it will create you some code that you can click to run, and it will run in your own CLI in your Azure portal. So you can run this from the Azure portal, and it will help you do your work more efficiently. So this one is also really cool. And of course, you have the security Copilot, etc. But this one, if you're into Azure, it's something that you can request. I didn't incur any costs at the moment, so I hope it will be free, but it's something that you can help to make your job a little bit easier if you run in an Azure environment on a day-to-day basis. Then we're going to look at Copilot Studio, because the left side are all bots that are already built. Those are SaaS. We are now getting into the platform as a service stuff. The Copilot Studio, you might know them as Power Virtual Agents in the old days. So these are just bots that you can build yourself based on a more platform as a service offering that can do stuff for you. For example, I have a small demo here. Let's see if it runs. So this is it's integrated in chat. It's called chat. The chatbot is integrated in Teams. And I just give it a command. Okay, you have to do something with a VM. What you want to do? I want to start a VM. And if you look on the right side, the VM is started. So it's not, these bots can do things for you. For example, we have a lot of customers where we do this stuff to create help desk tickets. We say, okay, you can create a Power Virtual Agent. It's called the Copilot Studio. You can build a Copilot that can, for example, if you say, well, I think something's wrong with my computer, you say, okay, can you tell me what is wrong? And then you can type it in and say, okay, well, automatically we do an API call to your Jira, ServiceNow, or whatever, and it will give the information back. Ticket has been created, click here for more information. So the user does not have to log on to Topdesk or ServiceNow to create a help desk ticket. It can just type it in, what's wrong with this computer, and the ticket has been made. This is a demo about starting and stopping a VM that's needed for something, but those are easy ways to get started. So this is the console. It's called Copilot Studio, where you can build your Copilots. Those run on the Power Platform licensing, so you have to do something about the licensing part as well to get that fixed. But you can request a free trial, so you can play around with it, and it doesn't cost anything. My free trial was a month. I've extended it for the 8th time for another month. So it works a month, but you can extend it for as long as Microsoft will allow it. But this is really cool, because in this part you can get into more your custom stuff and build pilots based on what you want them to do. So you can see here on the left, I have some subjects that I can run it on, and there's a generative AI. I will talk about that in a bit. But what it was in the basic is an if this then that. So you have some trigger sentences where you can say, I think something's wrong with my computer. That's a trigger sentence. It will kick off a workflow, and based on that workflow, it can run Power Automate tasks to create API queries, create API puts and pulls, gets and posts to get information to and from other systems. I use this at a customer where the customer wanted to know how many free time do I have this year, and it will do an API call to their system. It come back with, okay, I can see you have 4 days off this year. It will do an API query to the agenda of the user saying, okay, I can see you have next Friday, you don't have any meetings. Shall I put in this day as a day off for you? And you can say yes, no. So these are things where you can help your user work more effective by doing this in custom Copilot. And this is only if this then then, but you can also connect it to a generative AI. So you can hand off information if the customer or the user is inputting information that's not really working well in the if this then that check, you can hand it off, or in this case, you can say, make it, for example, in chatbot where you can where you can use a website as a source, and it can use all the information in the website to give you answers on questions, or if needed, you can see here if for example, this is a part of a flow. So I have a flow that says, okay, something's wrong with my computer, but if it says my mouse isn't working, then if this then that, the Power Virtuator might not know what to do. So it will ask to go to the left, say, okay, the fallback count, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that. Can you please rephrase the question or your problem? And it will do that 3 times, and it doesn't. And if it still doesn't know the answer, you can say, call action, hand off to Azure OpenAI. Then Azure OpenAI will have a large language model bot that will check the information. So you can see here, you have a Power Virtual Agent that will initiate an Azure OpenAI assistant request to say, okay, guys from the Azure OpenAI, I have this bit of information. I don't know what to do with it. Can you give me some input? It will give you a response based on, okay, based on my large language models, I think the user is using this, is thinking that it's this. Then it will test the response if it's okay for responsible AI, etc. And then it will put it back into the Power Virtual Agents. And then it will say to the customer, okay, I think you're meaning this is your problem. Is this correct? Yes, no. You do yes, and then it will run into the correct flow. So this is a way to have your custom bot using generative AI, and also to do stuff, not only and to talk to third-party stuff, not only because the copilots are Microsoft-based stuff talking to Microsoft. And on this way, you can talk to a lot of other applications that you want to talk to. And you can use it as your assistant, your Copilot assistant, or your chat assistant inside Teams if you want. For example, this is a Beatles song. So that's really cool. So that's the Power Virtual Agent stuff. So the Copilot Studio. Now we're going to talk to the Azure AI Studio, another form of platform as a service. It's aoi.azure.com, this OpenAI infrastructure. Then you get to the portal, and you can see here there are a lot of predefined things that you can use. You can have a chat playground, a DALL-E for making pictures, a Whisper, text-to-speech, speech-to-text, and something called Bring Your Own Data, and I have a nice example of that. If you click on chat, it will say, okay, what do you want to do? And I think this is the one you used, Jan Vidar, for your blog post.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly. So what the idea here is you can build your own very easy way, build your own bot. So this is what you have. You have a system message, I'll show you, and you can add your own data. And based on that, it will do what you ask it to do. So I said here, be a Shakespearean writing assistant. So that will base the context of the bot to do certain things. So if you look at the left, you are a Shakespearean writing assistant. It's the context for the bot, so it knows how to react. I also created one inspired more on The Office or whatever, so for where I ended every sentence with, have you tried turning it off and on again? And then we'll ask questions, and in the end we'll say, have you tried turning it off and on again? So this is the system message you can give to your bot, and on the right side, it says, hi, greetings, how may I have a system? Give me a poem about Iceland, and then we'll give you a poem in Shakespeare style based on the information or the question you asked it. But it will do this for everything, and it can become quite annoying if you have an IT problem and you want it solved, and it's giving you some Shakespearean way of writing your answer. So this is the way the bot should respond, and then you have the way, okay, but what should it know? So if you click on the add your data, the preview one, you can add your Azure Blob Storage. You can put about 30 documents, something in there, or a link to something else, or to a log analytics workspace or whatever that it can ingest the data from. Then you can input the data into there, and then it will ingest the data, and it will scan the data. So what I did for our own company, we are Rawworks, we have the raw GPT. I ingested everything, the handbook, car, how we handle cars, how we deal with days off, etc. That's all ingested in the bot, and then you can deploy it. On the right, there says there's a button deploy to, and if you do that, it creates an Azure web app, and you can connect to that using your tenant credentials based on your own conditional access to access the bot and play with it. So you can just do it, and it says here, this is the raw GPT, so this is the Azure bot that we have. It said, what are the openings time of the raw base? That's the name of our office. And it says, well, okay, it's located there. Weekdays, it's open to everyone, blah, blah, blah. For colleagues with a key, it's open till 7, from 7 to 7 on weekdays, and with an alarm key, it's open 24/7. And these are the documents I found this information in, if you need any more information. So this is a really cool way to help your HR department save a lot of time answering questions. Just ask the bot, all the information is there. Just to give you an example, and Jan Vida made a nice extra blog post about how we did this using for a security large language model bot. So that's that. And then we're gonna go a little bit into the nitty-gritty details. So those are more the PaaS platform. Now we're gonna build our own stuff. You talked about cloud landing zones the other in the physical meeting. This is the cloud landing zone design, and you can see there's also a specialized bit about the Azure AI subscription. So Microsoft has made a blueprint about what should be in it and how it should look. So the Azure OpenAI systems is something that you can spin up, and then it will you can use it, and you can use the key vaults, and you can connect it to internal networks or whatever. And then it can run. So if you do that, if you run an OpenAI instance, you get the, let's see, next slide. Yeah. This is all the things that are in Azure AI services. So you have an Azure OpenAI. So that's for large language models. You can have an AI search. So it will be more like a search, your own search engine. So computer vision, where you can analyze content and images and videos. For example, you can show it a picture and it will tell you how many bikes are in the picture. You have the Face API, and that's with the GDPR a little bit of a problem, because can you use it, can't you use it? There's a lot of security stuff there. But these are all the things that are there in a platform as a service model. So what Azure will do is it will give you the engine, and you have to write the code to use it. So that's really cool, but then it's more Bash and Python. I think the language, I use Python a lot to write to these AI bots to get them to do stuff. But this will help you. So what I did for the demo is I created a vision bot, and I did something that we've done for a long time, but I'll show you in a bit. So it's one of the, if you want to play around with it, I urge you to use the GitHub AI 102 engineer, because it will show you how Python is used to talk to the bots, and how you can use it to build your own bot for doing stuff based on these. If you look at that, how does it work? So you deploy the service, you say create. I created a computer vision thingy to do some OCR that I wanted to try out. And it will say, okay, well, then we need to connect to it, and then you need to use the keys. So you need the key and the endpoint to connect to it, and to get your Python code to run, and to talk to it to get the information where you want it. So this is a little bit of the code. You can see this is a Python code where it does computer vision. It loads some namespaces from the cloud. So the Azure Cognitive Services Vision, you also have to install a lot of dependencies. This is in Visual Studio Code, but you have to install a lot of dependencies to get everything to run. Might be a little bit of a nightmare to get it running, but once it runs, it's really cool to play around with. So just to show you, there's a lot of code that you can use. And what it does here is it analyzes a file, and based on that file, it will try to recognize the text in it and print it. So this is based on code, so you can run the script. It will upload, you will upload the picture. It will give you the answer back in text, but that's not sexy when you're doing a presentation. So there's another way to do that. They also have these platforms, the Vision Studio, where they show you examples of what you can do once you use the Vision AI bot. For example, video retrieval, recognize products, extract text from images, common objects detection. So you can have the visual version of what you're trying to do in code to see if it corresponds. And then you can try, okay, if I do this, maybe I can make it better or make it worse, or try different things doing it. So these are all based on PaaS. So what I tried was to do this. So the Azure User Group Norway is the best user group in the world, and it detected it. And because of my analog encryption on my writing, because I type a lot and I write like I'm a gorilla. So it could not get every letter correctly, but it got the gist of the information. So you can see here that you can do OCR. This is based on Azure AI services in your own tenant for all these documents. And if you have Python, you can build your own script to for example, say, okay, to a customer, to one of your users, if he wants to have a document OCR, you should put it in that folder or in that storage account. It will automatically OCR and email you the results. Those are things you can build yourself using the platform services of Azure and a little bit of high code. So just to wrap it up, and this is also a picture that I did with Microsoft Designer, where I said, okay, give me a picture about the wrap up for a presentation. And then he gave me a presentation where someone is wrapped up. So, okay, it's a little bit about the prompt engineering, I think, but in the end, you get the idea. So some up and some downside about AI, and those are all debatable. The upside is it's always available. As long as there's a computer online, it will work. It's scalable until infinity and beyond. To an extent, we have improved accuracy because it will, based on the information you feed it, it will give you the correct answer all the time. You can have faster development and creation, enhanced safety because people don't have to do stuff. The computer does it, and it does it based on the rules and regulations you give it. The possibilities are endless, and we can automate all the stuff we find boring. For example, typing over a document we get in the mail or get sent to us via the post and typing it into a computer. The other thing it might do to us, or it might have, is a lack of creativity, because most of the AI bots now make connections on stuff they know. So they might make connections that we don't know, but they might not always think of stuff that they can dream. So they might not be as innovative as we as humans can be. Another thing is the lack of empathy. At the moment, the bots are not good at feeling the emotions of humans, because we are good at masking our emotions. And if we are in the room with other people, we can feel the room or feel the other person, and AI cannot do that. Another thing that might happen is skill loss. If you automate the mundane, those skills that we use to do that might go lost. It might be a problem. Automated surveillance at scale. So all the things in China, and I know of a company in Europe that does surveillance for construction sites, and they can tell by someone who's walking on the construction site if he should be there or not, based on how they react and how they work and how they move around on the building ground. So they can say, hey, he shouldn't be here. So the guard can go to that person and ask, hey, what are you doing here? Based on artificial intelligence and predictive analysis. And I was at a company that does a lot of automation in the healthcare that can say, well, based on the way people touch each other, we can predict if it's welcome or not welcome. So if it's a voluntary touch, so a hug, or if it's grabbing someone that doesn't want that. So that's really cool, but also really scary, because it might be you're being watched, and it's not always a human behind on the other side of the monitor. So that's something we have to think about. So there's also increased laziness, because we're automating everything. We can become more lazy. It can be expensive to run. If you played around with the bots, you find out soon enough that if you have a lot of blob storage in use, or you run a lot of questions through your GPT, that it will cost you a bit of money, and it can cost a lot of money if you don't have the correct caps, budget caps, etc. in place, budget alerts. The other thing, and that's also a problem, it's only as good as the information it's giving. So if you have a bot that you want to learn stuff, you have to give it the right information. So you have to learn it so it knows what to do. And also prompt engineering, because you have to ask it the right question to get the right answer. And that's something that's going to take our users a lot of getting used to. So if you're into the user adoption part of IT, I urge you to look at prompt engineering. So how can we train our users to ask all this artificial intelligence stuff to input the correct information so they get out of it what they want. Because if they use it the wrong time at the wrong way and they use it 2 or 3 times and it doesn't work, it's crap. But it's not crap. They just don't know how to work with it. So that's something you have to think about. There's of course job loss, and of course AI is not a job loss. I'll talk about that in the last slide a little bit more, but it's just the way of looking at it. And of course, don't trust AI with your life. You always need to check. Lawyers blame ChatGPT for tricking them into citing bogus case law based on information that wasn't correct. So that's something you have to really be aware about. And that's also what we saw in the Copilot with the Azure User Group Norway. Is the information correct? We don't know. Of course, AI is always responsible. So think about AI as it has to use the guardrails of humanity. So it has to be ethical and it has to be explainable why it's doing the things that it does. Can you trick the system into saying things it shouldn't say? In theory, you could, because it's just like it's a cat and mouse. Microsoft is reshaping the responsible AI every day, but it's just the way you ask questions that you can have it say an answer that might not be responsible or fair. And also, if you run your own large language model bots, the responsibility to create a responsible AI based is on you. So then you can have it do stuff that it might not, in essence, need to be isn't supposed to do, but you can make it do it. So that's the part of responsible AI. You can have a complete study about how this works, and that's really cool. Microsoft had at first they had their own department called responsible AI, and then they shut the department down and they implemented it into everyone that's doing AI. They all have responsible AI people among them, just to be sure that in every core or fiber of what they're doing in AI, it's responsible. So Microsoft is doing a really good job trying to get the AI to be as good as it should be. Then, of course, there's a lot of regulation. So Biden wants to move on AI, and the UN Council wants to deploy the AI with rules, wants to containerize AI with rules. So there are a lot of things that are. So the EU has an AI Act with the first regulation on artificial intelligence. The only problem with this is that the guys and girls who write these stuff or write these regulations are not experts on AI. So they write it very defensively and very based on nothing. We can't do anything. That might be a problem in the future where AI would be the development of AI might suffer from these regulations. But that's something that we have to see in the coming days. Last thing, from experience, if you do something in AI development, so you're building a large language model bot or a Power Virtual Agent Copilot bot, or even the Copilot in the SaaS version, get your information in order takes a while. So you have to have everything in the cloud. You have to have your role-based access completely in order, so users cannot get to information that they shouldn't. So get the digital transformation bit fixed, and that takes a lot of time before you can implement it. So building the product is not, that takes a little bit of time, but if you know what you want to build, you can build it. And then you have to test it, and then you have to teach everyone. And that also takes a lot of time because the users have to learn things like prompt engineering to use the AI in the correct way. So last thing, the age of AI is upon us. Can we keep our jobs? Well, Dr. Milanovic said to replace programmers with AI, clients need to accurately describe what they want. We're safe. So as long as users don't know, can't type everything they want with mathematical precision, we still have a job because someone still needs to transform what they want to what they do. And do I need to worry? No, because it's just like the industrialization or whatever. You might lose some jobs, but you gain other jobs because the AI needs to be monitored, maintained, built, and checked every once in a while. And the people that are replaced by someone else are the people that don't use AI. They might be replaced with someone that's using AI because they can work more efficient. So if there's one thing I want to take with you is please try to please play around with AI and try to find a way to embed it in your daily work, because it will really help you save a lot of time if used correctly. So with that, it's a deep rabbit hole you can jump into and spend all your spare time into. Guilty. A small shout out. I'm starting a new podcast with some community colleagues called The Impact of AI Explored. We're recording the first session this afternoon. So it's just to give a broader perspective on AI, and AI based on the things we do in day-to-day life. So it's not just AI on computers, in IT, but it's AI in the broader world. So we're trying to, I talk a lot with people about AI, and at one point, okay, why don't we just make a podcast because we talk about it? Why don't we do that and record it? Maybe someone has something, some new insight on it. So keep that in mind, and please have a listen once the first episode is aired next week somewhere. And with that, that's all, folks. Thank you very much for your time. I didn't see very much questions coming around. Jan Vida, nice. You showed some information about where you can get the different stuff to go.
Yeah.
And if there are any questions, please shout now or find me if you need me. I'm also in this meeting. My mail address is here, and I shall type my contact info here. So thanks a lot.
Well, that's perfect. Well presented, well done. We had quite a good turnout as well. At the most, there were almost 40 people inside, so that's really good.
Nice.
A topic of interest for sure. So if anyone has any last questions, you can drop them in now in the chat. I think the chat will be also available after the meeting. You know how Teams work, so you can still put your questions in if you need to, and also Gerjon has added his contact details there. So yeah. Perfect. Well, I think we will say very much thank you to you, Gerjon, for
no worries.
Yeah,
and I'd like to come again in a few months if I have a new episode in my questionnaire, in my adventure into AI, to show you how far I've come.
Well, I'm welcome.
Perfect. Well, with that, I will say thank you everyone for attending. Please note that the presentation and the recording will be available a little bit later, depending on my time. And Gerjon, you can just share your presentation as a PDF with me or something, and I will add it. You can also, if you are a GitHub user yourself, you can create a folder date and do a pull request. So you can do anything you want about that. You see the format. So do what fit your needs best. But you can also send it directly to me. But you can also do a pull request. So yeah.
Will do.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, as everyone knows about Teams, it will say after the meeting is ended that the recording is available, but it won't be available for external users. So you have to wait for the upload of the recording to the YouTube. So there's always a question about that. The link doesn't work. Well, thank you all. I will leave you to it. I have a new meeting in 1 minute, so I will drop out and see you guys around.
Same here. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.